Right. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining this afternoon. I'm super excited to see so many folks here to celebrate these lovely folks, lovely members. Sorry, I'm navigating Zoom controls as I talk. Never a good thing to do. Okay, here we go. Oh, my Zoom is also laggy, so apologies. Here we go. Now I think we're ready. All right, thank you all again for joining this afternoon to celebrate Mariah, Jeremy, and Emily as they wrap up their end of terms. I think I know pretty much everybody on the call today, but in case there's anybody I haven't met, I'm Erin. I'm the eeCorps program coordinator, and so it has been my privilege to support these fine folks as they've served their AmeriCorps years in a couple cases, or half year in one case. And I'm excited to gather with you all today to celebrate them as they complete this term of service. So to highlight what they've done throughout their terms and what they've learned throughout their terms, we're going to start with some individual spotlights from each of them to hear some specifics from their service, and then we'll come together for a panel discussion afterward to get into some more specific reflections. As we go, those of you who are connected online, of course, feel free to use the chat feature in Zoom to drop any questions or comments or reactions. Or you can use the little reaction button, whatever feels good. If there are questions in there and we have time at the end, we may pull one or two of those to hear from these folks live. So definitely use that throughout. It'll be fun either way to amass some celebratory feedback for them in there that they can enjoy on their way out. So with all of that said, I think that's enough for me. So let's jump in. And to get us started, I would love actually to hand things over to Kira, first of all, to introduce us to Mariah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kira. I'm the education director here at Bluff Lake Nature Center. If you don't know, or just to refresh your memory, Bluff Lake Nature Center is a 123-acre wildlife refuge and outdoor classroom. We do a wide variety of programs, including our homeschool enrichment, field trips, and our summer camp. And Mariah served as our bilingual assistant summer camp director this year. And we actually had the opportunity to expand our summer camp from 48 kids a week to 56 kids a week, if I have my numbers correct. So she was really instrumental in helping this expansion be successful and helping to just improve some of the quality of our programming. So yeah, I'm going to pass it over to Mariah.
Thank you, Kira. And I am going to share the presentation. So can everybody see?
Yes, you're good.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time, for being here today. I had the lovely privilege of working at Bluff Lake Nature Center during my service with AmeriCorps. So these are some of the programs that I was able to help Bluff Lake facilitate. My focus for this presentation is going to be summer camp, our La Naturaleza Habla Español events, and some of our other Spanish programming. So I want to start off with talking a little bit about summer camp. Since this is the program that I spent the most time working on during my time here, I had a lot of valuable professional experience working with Bluff Lake on this project. I got to gain strong program and curriculum development skills, as well as leadership skills, assisting in the management of counselors and junior counselors on our team. And really, the most exciting part about summer camp has been watching it be built from the ground up, having a piece in building the lesson plans and sitting in on the interviews for our staff to actually getting to see these lessons implemented in real life time. So yeah, I think that while I was working on the curriculum development, I really had to put myself in the camper's shoes. What did I like to do at the ages of 5 to 12, right? In elementary school. And the answer to that was really into rocks and minerals at that time. And I found that Our geology lesson plans was a bit of a hole at Bluff Lake. We didn't have much curriculum built around that, so I took it on to build that a little bit more. We did some geosmashing at summer camp. We got to rent out free mineral kits through the Colorado School of Mines and use that as a resource for our campers to explore these minerals using their different tools. And we also had different curriculum surrounding wildlife. As you can see in the picture, we have a camper holding a crawdad during our creek time, which we had every day. We had some outdoor skills. In the bottom right corner, you can see me practicing our fire building skills with the campers, and much more. In the top right corner, you can see our Golden Bison Award, which is a motivation for our campers to show camp spirit throughout the week and just really get excited about being there and respecting nature, respecting their fellow peers, and respecting themselves. I think one thing that helped summer camp run so smoothly this year was our awesome team. We had a group of 8 counselors on our summer camp team that we really got to grow pretty close to. And part of my goal for starting this role was to create a healthy work environment with strong bonds between our counselors. And part of the way that I did that was create a weekly space on Fridays to write appreciation notes to each other, because I think that it's important to feel reassured and feel that your work is being recognized by your peers. And I think that served as a motivational piece for our counselors to keep going, especially when you're in the middle of summer camp and it's been a long week. So I want to give a quick shout out to our summer camp crew for being so awesome. Another program that I want to highlight is some of our Spanish programming that we provide here at Bluff Lake. In our bottom right corner is an example of a field trip that I led in Spanish here at Bluff Lake. And I think this program is so awesome because we get to meet students where they're at. And Bluff Lake is all about nurturing and creating connections to nature, and that's a lot harder to do when you're not speaking your primary language. So we're able to meet our students where they're at and help them explore and express their passions for nature in their primary language, which was awesome. And it was just great to see these students get so excited to see that we're providing this resource in Spanish and giving them that space to get excited and to express themselves to their fullest extent. It was very rewarding for me. Sometimes we would get schools that where the kids mostly spoke Spanish and didn't speak very much English, and the teachers didn't speak very much Spanish. So it was awesome to be able to see their faces light up when they'd see that someone who speaks their language is coming to them and getting to learn and play outside. Well, they get to feel comfortable speaking their language. But yeah, another exciting thing was I got to run into an old high school teacher where I went to my high school to talk about natural resources and my journey as an environmental educator. And my goal was really to persuade them to follow their passions and look for a job where they get paid to do something that they love, and to show them that they can do it. You know, I was once in their shoes in that exact same classroom, and just motivating them to follow their dreams and yeah, to get to do what they want in their future and take control of their future. Another program that I want to highlight is our La Naturaleza Habla Español events. I got to meet so many great visitors from different backgrounds, from different countries, who would come and tell me about all the exciting nature that they have back in their home countries. I got to meet a family from La República Dominicana, which was awesome, and they were just so excited to talk about the different plants and the different animals and how they look different than here, and being able to continue growing that relationship with nature a little farther away from their home, but in their new home, right? So yeah, that was really exciting. And I think more than anything, Bluff Lake has been such a community. So I want to give a quick shout out to our summer camp staff. They were really awesome to get to know and really helped things go as smoothly as they did. And I want to thank our Book Lake staff for being here today, but for also providing the great support that they do. And I have some great mentors to follow behind. So thank you guys for everything you do.
Awesome. Thank you, Mariah. So impressive and inspiring to hear about the relationships that you're fostering through your work, not only with like campers and with the staff team that you talked about, and within the Spanish-speaking community that Buff Lake serves. It's super awesome to hear all about that, and wild to think that that has only been since February. So truly, truly incredible stuff. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for sharing about it. I really appreciate it. Yes, please send some comments in the chat. Reactions popping up. This is all great stuff. So please be sure to hype Mariah up in the chat. And while you do so, I would love to hand things off to Annie to tell us about our next speaker.
Great. Thank you, Erin. My name's Annie. I am here to introduce Jeremy Rice, who is our eeCorps member here at Colorado Canyons Association. He asked me to focus more on the organizational background so that when it's his turn, he can just dive right into the exciting stuff. So Colorado Canyons Association is the nonprofit friends group to Colorado's 3 national conservation areas, just as a special designation of public land. His role here has spanned across both of our land and river-based programming, ranging from 2-hour station-based field trips with 3rd graders to 3-day rafting trips on the Colorado River. When we're out in canyon country with students, our aim is to connect them to their local public lands and the characteristics that make these places special, while also fostering long-lasting relationships to outdoors. Jeremy has brought a very diverse, adaptable skill set to our organization, everything from rowing boats to the amazing artwork he's about to show you. And I'm so excited for you all to hear about his work and get to see it for yourself.
Right on. Thanks, Annie. Get my screen shared here with you all. Great. All right, we look good?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So thanks all for being here. I'm Jeremy, and I'm going to be sharing my illustrated field guide project with you all. So first things first, if it'll change slides here. There we go. The goals of this are to create a tool that our students can use out in the field to explore their curiosities instead of me just telling them everything. So the way we're doing this, we're collecting a list of species of commonly found animals or just unique species to our NCAs. I'm illustrating them, and then it will eventually end up in a fully illustrated field guide that we can use outside. Relating this to environmental ed, I'm relying on experiential education theories, where we want students to follow curiosities purposefully to generate more creative thinking and critical thinking outdoors to hopefully create this true learning experience where students feel empowered by their environment and their ability to learn on their own, independent of, adults telling them everything. And then hopefully through that, they have a more long-lasting connection with the space, and this increased ecological knowledge that is, a little more long-lasting than just hearing some fun facts. I've been asked a lot throughout this process why I'm drawing and not just collecting photos. When I first joined CCA, this was already started with photos, and I have a background in art. It's my bachelor's degree is in art, and so saw a skill set that I had and a way I could use it and get paid for it. So we do drawings. When your brain automatically sees a drawing, it assumes that not all the information is there, which makes you then look closer, think more creatively and critically at your surroundings, especially in this context of it being, something that we're trying to use to scientifically identify things. And the photographs limit that creativity a little bit. So here's an example side by side of a Western tanager that I've drawn, and then the photograph of that same bird. Now to the good stuff. Here's some mammals that I've drawn. These are American beaver, desert bighorn sheep, and pronghorn. Another thing that the drawing allows us to do is um, kind of draw some things that maybe we wouldn't want to see in a photograph. For example, the four-chambered stomach on a desert bighorn sheep. The reference photo for that was not my favorite thing to look at, so surely not super for students. But I was able to draw it in a way that's more approachable and gets the idea across of this really neat adaptation that they have. Here's some birds. Osprey is my favorite there. I also like the canyon wren on the left side. We don't usually see canyon wren, so I illustrated the sound best I could, which is kind of funny. Um, so yes, there's some of those. Here's some plants. And I'm doing all this on my iPad, on a program called Procreate. I'm more trained in canvas and oil and charcoal and that kind of stuff. So there was a little bit of a learning curve of creating a finished product through this process. Previously, I just used digital art to like create reference photos for myself. So that was kind of a fun learning curve. Here's some macro invertebrates that we find. My favorite here is the Dobson fly on the left side. These things get really, really big, like from your middle finger to the bottom of the palm of your hand. They crawl around in the water. They're super freaky. Kids love them. It's a treat to see a Dobson fly. Um, Finishing up my term here this past Friday, we had a little art show at a brewery around here to showcase some of this work. I am doing a second term. I suppose I should have mentioned that sooner. So this project isn't finished. This is kind of halfway. And so we took the opportunity to connect with the local community and kind of share with them more of what CCA does and also showcase my artwork. So I had these posters. There's a few more species on there I didn't show y'all that will eventually have their fully finished pages, like the mountain lion. That was definitely a highlight for the show. Some more collections of the plants and the bugs. Everybody loved the bug posters. It's all the fishermen around here. They were really into the bugs. I also got to design a new t-shirt for CCA. That's what's on the left there. And then these two new stickers. That skull is a mountain lion skull. Moving forward, I'll finish this project up with the categories of species that we have right now. I also plan to add some ducks and fish and amphibians. The big thing we do talk about on these trips are amphibians and the relationship between like our native frogs and toads and invasive bullfrogs. And then perhaps after I'm done with CCA, I think it'd be really cool to do another field guide focusing on geology and paleontology and combining those, because that is such a cool, unique part of our Western Slope area. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Jeremy. It's been so fun to see this project sort of evolve over the term, and I love the connection of art and environmental education, and have enjoyed hearing from you about why it's such a meaningful way to convey this information. So cool. Thank you so much for all your work on that, and excited to see it continue. And thanks so much for sharing about it with us today. Continue. You're getting lots of appreciation in the chat for those illustrations, as you should. So while that keeps coming in, I would love to hand things back to Kira to tell us about Emily.
Is it off mute? Okay. Hi again, everybody. Sorry. Okay. It's a bit echoey, but I think we're just gonna. Okay. Sorry, guys.
What if Mariah, can you unmute yours, and Emily/Kira, can you mute the one that was working better earlier for whatever reason?
Just talk through your. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still hearing you. Although we're seeing Mariah. I guess that's the hiccup. Might need to do a seat shuffle real quick. I assume because yours is connected to the TV in the room, Mariah. That's why we're getting the sound from it.
Face because it's putting up the one that's talking. Unless, yeah. Here, just take my computer.
Is that working for everybody? Are you seeing Kira and Emily
Does this work?
now? I tried pinning you, so I think you're good now. You can stay where you're at.
Okay, I think we're on two screens now, and we'll just leave it like that. Just safe. Okay, my name's Kira, again, Bluff Lake Nature Center. I'm introducing Emily to right now. Emily is one of our AmeriCorps environmental educators, and much of what she did during her term was support the variety of programs we had, including our outdoor homeschool enrichment, our field trips, our after-school programs, our mini camps, forest school, summer camp, and also supporting our social media with content creation, and regular engagement. Oh, and our scouts and our birthday parties, kind of the whole list of programs Emily supported. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and share my screen to present. Awesome. Everybody can see that all good? All right. Thank you, Kira, for the introduction. I'm excited to share with everybody some of the things that I worked on this year during my AmeriCorps year at Bluff Lake Nature Center as an environmental educator. So jumping right in to kind of support what Kira was saying, I had many tasks at Bluff Lake, mostly which revolved around the educational programs. I also had other opportunities through AmeriCorps for professional development, but working mostly on the field trips, outdoor homeschool enrichment, and nature-based camps. Mariah kind of touched on summer camp. And also I worked on our mini camps, which were just day-long camps at Bluff Lake. I also did social media and have dropped our account there if anybody wants to go give us a follow, and community outreach, whether that was at Bluff Lake or offsite, sometimes with partner organizations, sharing out about all the awesome things that we do at Bluff Lake. So one of the programs that I spent a lot of my time on this year was our outdoor homeschool enrichment program. And this program is very special to me. So I wanted to give it a bit of a shout out and a highlight during this presentation. So at Bluff Lake, there are 3 classes offered for homeschool enrichment. There is a class for kindergarten through 1st grade and a class for 2nd through 3rd and 4th through 6th. I had the opportunity to work on the youngest class and the oldest class. And each week, these students would come to Bluff Lake to build friendships, develop problem-solving skills, and also grow their confidence being outdoors, and deepen their connection to nature. So diving into some of the topics that we covered this year, we had a full year of learning, and I can't go over everything that we covered, but some of the main highlights that we got to do were outdoor skills. We learned about weather and climate. We did water systems, decision making, wildlife ecology, ecosystem health, and animal tracking. A lot of these topics can build upon each other and work together to create more education. But I wanted to give a special highlight to our water systems. Our oldest group on OHE, our 4th through 6th, had the opportunity to do water testing this year. Bluff Lake had many new campus improvements this year, and so using our new space inside the building as a lab for this water testing was especially special. We collected water from the Sand Creek, which is the creek that we play in throughout OHE and also summer camp, and then bring it up to the top to do lab testing. And that was just really special to make that connection there. This is the water that we play in, and now we are using it for science and hands-on learning that way. So that was really special. Some of these other pictures, our outdoor skills unit here is a student with a big tent that he constructed by himself. So awesome. Fire starting was also outdoor skills, and animal tracking, which we got to see in the snow. And something that I saw within the students and also myself throughout the duration of the school year was so much growth. And this was in their problem-solving skills, also growing in confidence with themselves, their relationships with their classmates, but also just being in outside. Their understanding of nature and their environment grew as well. I learned so much from the kids about Bluff Lake. A lot of these kids have been coming for so many years, and so it was so awesome to learn from them about a new bug or snakes that they could teach me fun facts about. And also just their comfortability I saw grow with myself, but also, again, being outside and finding their place in the class. So we did a lot of learning this year in OHE, but we also just had a lot of fun. And I think that is something that makes this program so special is how much fun is prioritized and built and breathed through this program as well. So we got to play in the creek a lot, catch crawdads, but we also had a lot of random, fun, spontaneous dance parties, which you can see in the bottom right corner. And a lot of the times that was either to warm up, but also just because we like to bust a move sometimes. And a lot of fun in the snow, which just built a lot of resilience in cold weather as well, which is a great skill. And at OHE, we got to go on a few field trips as well. Here is one of our students wearing a bird hat. One of the birds decided to land on her head. So the amount of fun, we were always just smiling, laughing together, which again just helps build that confidence, but also comfortability being outside and with the relationships with the students and each other. So, to end it off, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to everyone at Bluff Lake. I have learned so much from everyone. I want to give a special shout out to Ben, Casey, and Kira, who I got to work the most closely with, and your mentorship. I have learned so much about what it means to be an educator and someone who leads with compassion and care and also curiosity. So, thank you so much for all of these opportunities and experience. And thank you for being here and listening. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Emily. So cool to see in environmental education in general, but especially in a program like OHE, how much they are learning perhaps about the environment, but also about how to exist as humans with each other and with the environment and the world. And I love that you showcase so much of that growth. Thank you so much. And thank you again to all three of you. It's been so great to hear about some of the most impactful moments of your term. And next, I'm excited to chat with all of you to get into some more specific reflections on the impacts from the term on learners and on yourselves. So let me go ahead and pin, yes, keep the comments coming in the chat as well as we move to this next little bit. I want to pin all three of you so that we can see everybody for this panel conversation. So give me just a second to get myself together in that way. For Zoom to lag to its heart's content. We'll get there. Okay, get myself in the mix as well for this conversation. All right, awesome. So to start off our panel conversation, I'd love to look high level at a quick snapshot from each of you. Describe your service in 3 words, and we'll start with Jeremy for this one.
Yeah, my 3 words. First one was adaptability. It's a rough year, as we all know, as educators. So just being adaptable as a program and an organization. Second is wonder. We're out in the same areas doing a lot of the same programming week to week and making sure that I'm staying engaged with the environment so that our students stay engaged also has been at times a challenge. And then my third word was receptive. I've learned a lot of technical skills, also just like the mental capacity to deal with kids outside in the desert on the river has been a lot. So taking feedback and being coachable has been a big part of it.
Thanks, Jeremy. Emily, what about you? Describe your service in 3 words.
3 words that describe my service are growth, community, and curiosity. I've grown so much personally, but also seeing my students grow so much as well, as I kind of highlighted in my presentation, and just staying curious, always ready to learn something new. I always learn something new every single day I come to Bluff Lake, so I'm excited to continue that and just continue to grow in community as well.
Thanks, Emily. And Mariah, describe your service in 3 words.
Yeah. The 3 words I chose is fulfillment, connection, and learning. I think that I've found a lot of fulfillment working in education, especially environmental education. I think it's very important. I think that part of education is growing connections and building that rapport with people. And lastly, I think that part of teaching is also learning. You're always learning as you go along, whether it's hard skills like group management or it's more fun facts about nature. I've learned a lot about water this year, so.
Cool. Thanks, Mariah. It's sort of a common theme of learning, seems like amongst you, and I think some other overlaps. But zooming into kind of where you were specifically serving, and we heard the word community come up at least once so far. But I'd love to know from you first, Jeremy, was there a specific place or moment in nature that stood out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. One of our last programs that we did was with a group from Gunnison. They're a group of middle schoolers doing a summer camp from Western State University. Um, and they were a little more used to being in the outdoors compared to some of our other groups. So these students were a lot more like self-reliant. They could take care of themselves. And the first day we got, or like the first day of this 3-day trip, we got to our camp and just got smacked by some weather. It had been 105 degrees and sunny all day, and then all of a sudden we had like 40-mile-an-hour gusts of wind, rain. We even got some hail, and we're like setting up camp and cooking dinner and eating dinner during the storm. And then the skies cleared, and we found like all these cool little waterfalls coming down off the wet sandstone. It was gorgeous. And then as a group, we decided to hike up to an amphitheater behind our camp. And these kids are just like scrambling up this wash and up these boulders. We got to the top, they kind of settled down, and we were looking just out this amphitheater across the canyon, the river. Like it was a really, really great view. Um, we did some gratitude, and then the whole group just on their own went completely silent for like 10 minutes with middle schoolers. I couldn't believe it. We just sat there and everyone was just like looking around. No one was digging or scratching rocks, or like we were just sitting there taking it all in. That was the only time this entire summer that we had silence like that on the trip. So that was just a really special moment to share with those students. And like for me, it was a really meaningful moment. I'm sure it was for them too.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds incredibly magical. It kind of gets back to one of your 3 words, which was wonder. It's quite a moment to illustrate that right there. Emily, curious to know from you, how did working in your community shape your perspective on environmental issues?
Yeah, working in my community both shaped and also changed my perspective on environmental issues a little bit. And more specifically about the solution and actions we need to take on environmental issues. Being at such a community-based organization like Bluff Lake showed me that these huge, overwhelming global environmental issues and the solutions to them really do start at the community level. And when people understand and care about the nature around them, they're more likely to become stewards of it. And so, yeah, this experience has just showed me that creating environmental change isn't necessarily always a large scale solution, but also community based, and can start from just people feeling connected to their local environment and empowering those small, meaningful actions. And we can do this by building a sense of responsibility and community and also curiosity, which has had a ripple effect in my life, but also I've seen in students that I've interacted with as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Emily. I feel like there's been this tension between individual action as a solution and like it's too big for any of us to tackle. And this community idea is such a sweet spot in there. That is way more empowering. So that's awesome. You all have kind of referenced this, but often as we're educating, we're learning as much as we're teaching. Sometimes that might be about the content of the program if it's new to us. Sometimes we're learning about ourselves. Mariah, I'd love to know, what did you learn about yourself through this work?
Yeah, definitely. I think this also kind of touches on one of my 3 words, right? Fulfillment. I think that at the start of the season, I was in a transition place, coming from field work, and I wasn't sure how adapting to education was going to go for me. But I found a new passion for working with kids, and I think that one of my strongest traits is that I'm very social and I'm good at talking to people. And I think it's awesome that I'm able to apply what I've learned in the field and apply it here with people, working with people, working for people. That's been an awesome opportunity. I think I've also learned that I'm a lot more patient than I thought. Going in, I thought that patience was going to be one of my bigger challenges in this position, but it's actually proven to be one of my strengths.
I love that. And I'd at some point love to know more about that. But for now, thank you for sharing that. And Jeremy, I'd love to know, how has this experience influenced your future goals or career path?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this in two different areas. One, like personally, what I like to do and how I like to spend my time, and then in the scope of environmental ed. Um, Getting to learn, how to row a raft and do all that on all the river things that I've learned so far. It's definitely left me with a bit of an itch for more water, more white water, get a little more into this higher adventure realm of, maybe kayaking or just do some more intense rafting. And then as I get into like, okay, environmental ed moving forward, what would I like to do? I think like guiding would really be a great space for me, where I could see a lot of different people kind of quickly, but in more intense like experiences. I also crave some of that like physical kind of work. So whether it's on the water or backpacking or whatever sport I could take up. Um, that definitely draws my attention. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Jeremy. I can see that. I feel like from some of the things you've talked about and some of the side hikes that you've gone on their river trips and things like that. That's awesome. On somewhat related lines, and again, a thing we've kind of touched on as we've gone along, but this work is ripe for finding meaning and for shifting perspectives. So, Emily, what has been the most meaningful part of your AmeriCorps experience?
Mhm. I have had so many meaningful moments during this year at Bluff Lake. But I think the most meaningful part of this whole experience has just been all the connections that I've made, whether that's with students or colleagues, volunteers, or just the wider Colorado community. Through some of the programs that I was able to work on, such as field trips and summer camp, I had the opportunity to meet so many students and families from beyond just our Bluff Lake community who are coming to Bluff Lake. And something that I have just really appreciated about Bluff Lake is being a part of a space where people can come and explore and connect with nature outdoors, but also feel comfortable and supported while being here. And I feel like some of the more meaningful moments have been hearing directly from people that have participated in the programs, such as campers or students on field trips. And in particular, there was a student on a field trip who told me that this was the best day ever because they had never been hiking before, and this was their first time. And so moments like that just remind me how incredibly important it is, the work that we're doing, but also how important it is to keep nature accessible, welcoming, and a place where everybody belongs as well.
Definitely. I appreciate that. And I know it's come up in some of the other presentations that like, yeah, we might be doing this every single day, but that kid's doing it for the first time and who knows what we're sparking in that moment. That's so cool. Thanks for sharing, Emily. Jeremy, what about you? What values have been reinforced or challenged during your service?
I came into this term with a pretty strong belief in play and building up participants' self-efficacy in nature, and that's held true. As you mentioned, I really like the side canyon hikes and things. That kind of has been a focus of the kind of programming I've tried to do on our multi-day trips, especially where I offer these optional hikes sometimes students come, sometimes they don't. But the ones that come, we have a really great time, and I feel like they learn a lot and connect with their space on a deeper level than some of the other students. And just with that belief, I'm not going to force students to go on these hikes, right? If you don't want to go, then it's not going to be fun for any of us if I force you, right? So that's held true. At the same time, I was challenged a little bit on that from like myself reflecting on how I'm educating, because there are students missing out on experiences. So it's like, how much do I balance? Hey guys, we're going on a hike now. Everybody get your stuff, let's go. And hey guys, if you want to, let's go on a hike and go learn something, while still aligning with my values. So kind of one, it's been upheld in one way and challenged at the same time. And I think that's just something I'll continue to work through. And with where I'm at right now, I think that the students that are taking this option are really enjoying that experience, and so am I. So right now, that's the route I'm going to keep going. But yeah, it's been an interesting thing to critique and question myself in that way.
Yeah, thanks for that reflection. That is an interesting thing to wrestle with where, yeah, choice is so powerful, but maybe sometimes a little push is also important. So yeah, where do you strike that balance? That's tricky. Mariah, curious to hear from you next. How did your site or community influence your perspective on service?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we have such a diverse community around Bluff Lake. And Bluff Lake is in such a unique location as well, being a nature center in the middle of an urban area. We see such a variety in the visitors that come to visit us, whether it's someone that's coming on a run here every day, or it's someone who only speaks Spanish, someone who isn't as confident and comfortable in the outdoors and is looking for guidance in that, or they're a regular donor who's helped donate to build this beautiful building that we're sitting in today. I think I've learned that everybody has needs, and it's about finding a need and filling a need. I think that it can look very different for different people. Maybe it's a birder who's on the trail just looking for someone to listen and share their knowledge behind all they know about the specific bird species that they found, or it's someone who's just looking for a little extra support to gain more confidence in being in the outdoors and being around wildlife. I think it can look very different for everyone, but one of the beautiful things that I love about Bluff Lake is no matter the person, they're all coming here to look for a connection with nature. And I think that Bluff Lake does a beautiful job of serving all community in that sense and fulfilling that need.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing, Mariah. It's almost, I was picturing like a bridge as you talked about that in some way, like, but sometimes that's a very hands-off thing to be, and sometimes it takes a little more support. So, I love that idea. Um, and we've, again, so many of these questions are like, I guess you all were thinking about it. We've touched on a lot of things, including that not only are we educating learners about the environment, we're helping them push themselves and grow as people, whether that's to engage in something they've never tried before or try something they don't know if they'll like. And in the process, we are often doing the same thing ourselves. Emily, how has this experience pushed you outside of your comfort zone?
Yeah, I have grown so much this past year, and that has been because I have been pushed out of my comfort zone in the best way possible. Working with students, especially outside, has meant that I can't always rely on a set plan. And every group and every program that I worked on was different, which I had to adapt to, think on my feet, and just be comfortable making decisions right in the moment. And I think one of the biggest ways that I was able to grow to be more comfortable with this was just like being in the moment and being present and seeking opportunities to improve as well through professional development or asking my mentors how I can improve and really taking that feedback to heart. Yeah, I mean, being outdoor educating, you have to adjust your plans based on weather or the group. Sometimes students are interested in different things, different days. So just learning to embrace that uncertainty has made me so much more adaptable and confident.
Thanks, Emily. I think there's the saying that like if you're comfortable, you're not growing, right? So your growth is definitely tied to this being pushed outside your comfort zone. Mariah, if you were to look back and if you could go back to your first day, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I would go back and tell myself to embrace the connections that I've made and to also embrace the new role that I'm in. I think that I mentioned a little bit that there's so many people with so many different backgrounds here at Bluff Lake, not just visitors, but also staff. We have such a unique skill set behind the team where we have someone who maybe has worked in museums, their whole life and has so much knowledge off of that, and others who have been birding their whole lives, and others who have been pursuing education their whole career, right? So there's always something to learn from my peers around me, and I've been very grateful to have them there. I'd also tell myself to embrace the role a little bit, and that this role is so adaptable based on the person. You can really play to all of your strengths and play to the things that you're most knowledgeable on, right? The fun part about building curriculum is that you get to build it and you get to pick what you're teaching about and what you get to talk about and what you're passionate about. So playing off of the strengths that you already have and putting those into light.
Awesome. Cool. I love that. Yeah, just being unafraid to utilize those resources, unafraid to explore resources, including the folks around you and all their wealth of knowledge that they bring. That's awesome. Thanks, Mariah. So we've gotten into a lot about relationships, a bit to nature, to community, to self, all this growth that we're talking about. A lot of this is universal, but a lot is quite individual as well. I'm curious to know from a couple of you, this is a little more free form, so chime in as you feel. What's something that came up in this discussion that has stuck out to you, either because you couldn't relate to it, it was sort of different from your experience, or you unexpectedly could relate to it?
I can chime in on this. I believe it was Mariah, you mentioned patience and how you discovered you had more patience than you thought. That was definitely something that I felt when I started environmental ed. I was coming out of a fairly intense college lacrosse career and was like, how am I supposed to work with kids outside? And it's pretty amazing what you can just do when you're forced to do it. So that's something I've learned across my span of environmental ed that I chuckled at when you said that. It's totally true.
I was also going to relate to that as well, Mariah, and how this experience has just helped myself learn so much about like who I am. And so when you said that you learned patience and that was something that maybe you didn't know you had necessarily before, but now you're practicing that a lot. I just relate to that a lot. There's just so many things that maybe I have a small interaction with a kid and I'm like, oh, like maybe I can be adaptable and oh, I can figure this out. So yeah, I related to that as well.
I have a couple. Jeremy, first of all, I want to give a shout out to your beautiful artwork. Some talent, but I love that you're taking your hobby and passion outside of, uh, this position and applying it in your job as well. And I think one other thing that Emily said that I loved was how environmental change doesn't have to look so big. You don't have to go above. You could start right where you're at, right? And I think Bluff Lake provides such a unique place where we have it in our own backyards and we can start here. So,
Cool. Thanks, everybody. I love all of that. And finally, though, to wrap up our panel conversation, I'd love to hear from each of you one more time to please tell us what will you carry with you from this experience. And this time we'll start with Emily.
Awesome. I've learned again so much from this year and will carry all of my new tools and skills with me into the future. One of the biggest things I will carry with me from my service year is just the importance of creating a space where people feel welcome, connected, and curious. I've learned that part of our role as environmental educators isn't just about teaching straight facts, kind of like what Jeremy was saying earlier. It's also about being a guide in helping people, students, to build that relationship with the natural world, and helping them, showing them that they belong in the outdoor spaces and deserve to feel comfortable. And just that all these small interactions that I've had, whether small or big, can have lasting impacts. And again, change can just start with that simple moment of curiosity. So I'm just so happy and grateful for this past year. And thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. Mariah, what about you? What will you carry with you from this experience?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the connections I've made and the memories I've made. As I mentioned, I've found some fulfillment in this position, and I feel like part of what fuels that is the people, right? The memories, the connections that you make with others. And I'm excited to announce that I'll be continuing my journey with Bluff Lake here. I'll be staying on the team as a permanent hire. So I'm excited to keep nourishing those relationships that I've already built and keep serving the community here.
Thanks, Mariah. And Jeremy, what will you carry with you from this experience?
Yeah, in my reflection, I found that I still like working with youth outdoors. So that's a good thing. That's a plus. Um, and even though they've been like through the challenges and things we faced this season, I just continue to grow my ability to adapt and problem solve and work on a team in difficult situations. So those are all good skills on top of my like technical skills in the outdoors that I've developed. And then as I look into my next term, there's some very clear goals and places I want to continue to grow. Doing like some family programming and stuff like that, getting not only the youth connected, but youth and their parents connected, and doing like family hike experiences where I can continue to explore the space with people and grow that community. So it's kind of nice having a second term now. I know what I'm expecting and can keep building. So it's been a great experience, and I'm very eager to get into the next year.
Cool. Thanks, Jeremy. And thanks to all three of you for sharing about your service and for sharing your reflections. Let me go ahead and remove this whole situation while we wrap up. Thank you to all of you for showing up today and helping us celebrate these three folks. Remember to throw any reactions and things in the chats before you go. But yeah, huge thank you to everyone for coming today to celebrate. And of course, the biggest thank you to Jeremy, Mariah, and Emily for your sharing your reflections on the term with us today. And more importantly, for sharing your effort, your energy, your thoughtfulness, humor, your patience, and your heart with the eeCorps and with your service sites, with all your learners. And thank you for the impact that you've made for us, for your communities, and for our world, dare I say. So thank you again, all. I'm excited to see where you go next. A couple of you a little closer by, perhaps, but excited for all three of you to take what you've learned out into the world and continue making a difference for years to come. Thank you again to everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
As y'all are heading out, feel free to unmute and shout these guys out too.